Guys, I think we found out who's doing all the inflation. It's the capitalists. A measure of aggregate corporate profits released by the Commerce Department this week shows that margins are higher than they've ever been since 1950. You can see their growth in this chart here from Bloomberg. Just a huge jump in profits during the pandemic, coinciding with rising inflation numbers. News outlet wrote, quote, "The data show that companies overall have comfortably been able to pass on their rising cost of materials and labor to consumers. With household budgets squeezed by the rising cost of living, some firms have been able to offset any slip in demand by charging more to the customers they've retained." It adds, quote, "The surge in profits during the pandemic era has fueled a debate about whether price gouging companies carry a share of the blame for high inflation. Most economists have been skeptical about the idea." Well, that's because most economists are insufferable dweebs. With the exception, of course, of all the economists I'm MUFOs with on Twitter. They're good. But clearly, corporations are jacking up prices above and beyond the increased costs of supplies, which have been made more expensive by the pandemic and supply chain issues in the war in Ukraine, as well as above the costs of labor, which have ticked up slightly as a result of a tight jobs market. It's pretty easy to understand. If corporations weren't making world historic profits right now, but just decent profits commensurate with other periods in history, then prices wouldn't be as high. So is the entire inflation debate a ruse meant to distract from the real reason prices are up? Profit seeking in order to discipline labor who've seen slight gains in their wages? Why, yes, it is, as I've been saying on this show for months. And sometimes you can even get a capitalist to admit it if they're in a comfortable enough setting. Like Jordan Kaplan, the CEO and president of a commercial real estate firm in California called Douglas Emmett Inc. The Intercept reported on an August 2nd company earnings call in which Kaplan talks about how a recession might be good if it knocks workers down a few pegs. He said an economic downturn would be useful, quote, "if it comes with a level of unemployment that puts employers back in the driver's seat and allows them to get all their employees back into the office." Now, Kaplan is mostly interested in ending remote work so that companies are again purchasing office space. To him, the solution is to immiserate workers so they don't have the negotiating power to demand safer conditions, like being able to work from home during a pandemic. And that's broadly in line with the larger capitalist project to reduce labor costs by weakening workers' bargaining power for higher wages and better benefits. That's what the Fed is doing by raising interest rates, which makes borrowing money more expensive and will lead to layoffs and potentially a recession that adds slack to the job market and makes workers more desperate for a paycheck. The profit data isn't a secret. The earnings calls aren't secrets. All this is happening right out in the open. That's a capitalism, baby. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.